You ever wonder why so many software projects just completely tank? Here's a hint. It's almost never about bad code. Nope. It's because they built the wrong thing perfectly. So, let's get into it. We're going to talk about software requirements engineering. And to make it super clear, let's pretend we just got hired to build a coffee delivery app. We'll call it Caffeine Dash.
I mean, look at this number. A crazy 70% of projects just fail. And the real kicker? The root cause isn't some deep, complex bug in the code. It's a bug in the idea itself. It all boils down to terrible requirements. Basically, not really knowing what you're supposed to build in the first place.
But hey, don't worry. There is a way to avoid becoming just another statistic. There's a roadmap for this, and we're going to walk through the 4 key steps together: elicitation, analysis, specification, and validation. Think of this process as our secret weapon to make sure our little app, Caffeine Dash, is a massive success.
Okay, first up, elicitation. And yeah, it's a fancy word, but all it really means is you're playing detective. This isn't just about passively taking notes. Nah, it's about digging in, asking the right kinds of questions, and uncovering the actual truth that's kind of buried in what your client thinks they want.
So, our Caffeine Dash client comes to you and says this. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, simple enough. But as an engineer, your spidey senses should be tingling. That one little word in there, fast, that's a huge red flag. I mean, seriously, what does fast actually mean? Is that 30 minutes? 10? Is it like instant, Star Trek transporter fast? See, it means something different to everyone. This is exactly where you have to start digging. You use stuff like interviews, brainstorming, whatever it takes to pull the real, specific need out of your client's head. And when you do that detective work, you get this amazing transformation. You take this vague, untestable wish and turn it into something real, something measurable. See, the client didn't just want it fast. They wanted delivery in under 15 minutes with live GPS tracking. Now that's a requirement you can actually build and test against.
All right, on to step 2, analysis. This is the reality check. It's where you take all those great ideas you just dug up and you filter them. Does this make sense? Can we afford it? Is it even technically possible? This is basically where the big dreams have to face the hard facts of deadlines and budgets. And you know, the whole point of the analysis phase is to find and fix conflict. You're basically a negotiator at this point. You're hunting for requirements that just don't play well together, or clash with the budget, or, maybe even defy the laws of physics.
So, for example, let's say during your Caffeine Dash brainstorm, the client gets super excited and says, "I want deliveries made by flying drones." Awesome idea, right? But then you look at the budget, and it's $500 total. That's a massive conflict. So this is where you have to negotiate. You prioritize the stuff they absolutely need, the core app, and agree to put the impossible ideas on the back burner. So, yeah, sorry, no drones today.
Step 3 is specification. So now that you know what's actually possible, you've got to write it all down. This becomes the official blueprint for the project. It's often called a Software Requirement Specification, or SRS, and it's what you'll hand over to the developers so everyone's on the same page.
And in that SRS, vague words are the enemy. A bad spec would say something like, the app should load fast. A good spec says, the app must load the local cafe menu in under 2 seconds on a 4G connection. You see the difference? One is just a wish, the other is a command that you can actually test. Now, inside that blueprint, your requirements usually get split into 2 main types. First up, you've got functional requirements. These are pretty straightforward. They describe what the system literally does, the features, the buttons, the actual actions it can perform.
So for our Caffeine Dash app, a super simple functional requirement would be something like, the user can select a coffee from a menu and add it to their virtual shopping cart. It's a clear, distinct action.
The second type? That's non-functional requirements. These don't describe what the app does, but how well it does it. This is all about the qualities, things like speed, security, and just how reliable it is.
So a non-functional requirement for Caffeine Dash might be that all user payment data must be encrypted. Or maybe that the app has to handle 1,000 people using it at the exact same time without crashing. These are qualities, not features.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important step, the safety net. This is validation. Before a single person writes a single line of very expensive code, you go back to the client one last time with your blueprint.
You show them the SRS, or maybe even a simple little prototype, and you ask them point blank, is this exactly what you wanted? And this is where they might go, wait a second, you forgot a button for iced coffee. They look it all over and spot something huge that everyone missed. They completely forgot about all the people who drink iced coffee.
And boom. Just like that. By catching that one little mistake before development starts, you've just saved the team hundreds of hours of painful, expensive rework down the line. I'm not kidding. This one step can literally be the difference between a project succeeding or failing.
So there you have it. That's requirements engineering in a nutshell. You play detective in elicitation, you do a reality check with analysis, you write the blueprint during specification, and you get that final critical sign-off with validation. If you can nail these 4 steps, you're not just building software, you're building the right software.
So, I've got to ask you, for anyone who's been in the trenches, what is the absolute craziest, most out-there feature a client has ever asked you for? I would love to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments below.